Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this Wiggles and Giggles Crocheted Baby Blanket. This is so beautiful. It is the first crocheted project that I am making for my little bean. I'm pregnant, so I'm due in June, and we are making a lot of crocheted pieces for baby. So we're super excited. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, so I'm making this today in this mint green color. I'll get into the supplies and then we'll get into some frequently asked questions about making this bigger or smaller, and then we'll get into making this blanket together. So big, huge thank you to Red Heart Yarns. I'm using this with love, so this baby blanket is made with love. See what I did there? So this is super soft yarn. It's with love by Red Heart Yarns, and this is a size 4 medium yarn. I think that's 10 ply actually, but that is similar to a double knitting yarn or similar to an Aran yarn, and there are 370 yards per ball, or 198 grams per ball. I used 3 and part of another. So I got 4 balls of this yarn, and I used 3 full balls and then a part of not even half of this 4th ball. So calculations, I guess I could grab my calculator out real quick here. Sorry, I probably should have done this off camera. Let's see here. 370 yards times 4 balls of yarn, so about 1,400 yards, maybe a little less. Ooh, my phone's a little dirty. So about 1,400 yards, maybe a little less. So that's what you'll need for this baby blanket. Now there's a line in here that separates the border from the blanket, and that I'm just using Red Heart Super Saver in Dusty Gray. Okay, it's similar to With Love, but this is just Super Saver. Again, quite soft, and I like the soft gray color in there as well. So those are the 2 yarns I'm using. You can use any colors you want, and you can use multiple colors if you'd like as well. So we're going to be crocheting this with an H size hook, which is 5 millimeters. This crochet hook is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. This crochet hook is my all-time favorite crochet hook, actually my favorite size and my favorite handle. I love this crochet hook so much. I promote the Would Be Fancy hooks everywhere I have a chance to, because they're hand-carved, ergonomic, they fit in the palm of your hand, and it's just really nice to crochet for a really long period of time with these crochet hooks. So check out the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. It's linked in the description of this video or in the materials section of the pattern on YARNutopia.com. You're going to need a scissors and a yarn needle also to cut your yarn and sew in your ends. So for sizing purposes, I am making a baby blanket that is 36 inches by 36 inches. Let me open this up for you so you can see here what this looks like. I love the border. So we're making the full baby blanket here. And in the tutorial, I tell you that this is in a multiple of 3 plus 1, so you can make this however big or small you want it to be. I am making the baby blanket size, which is 36 inches across here, okay? And actually, without the border, without these 3 rows, you can see here the gray, this row, and this row here. Without these 3 rows from one side to the other, it is 30... What did I say, 30 inches? I measured it in the video tutorial later on in this tutorial. You'll see I think it's 30 inches across. So adding this border adds 3 inches to each side, okay? So if you don't want to do the border, if you don't want to have like the frilly border, you can just have a single crochet border, and that's fine too, but just know it'll be a little bit smaller. So make your foundation row accordingly. And since this is in a multiple of 3 plus 1, you can make this as big as you want, and I will have the measurement guide for blanket sizes linked in the notes section of the free pattern that's on YARNutopia.com. And that's, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's the first link in the description box of this video, okay? So go to YARNutopia.com and see the pattern for this in the notes section. It will have different sizes of how how long your foundation chain should be. I don't have specific chain counts, but I do have measurements, so you can just chain however measurement you want, which is nice because you could actually use a different size hook if you want to. You can use the H hook, which I'm going to teach or use in this teaching tutorial, but also you could use an I hook or even a J hook, so really whatever you really like. And we're making this zigzag design here. And then we're making the border is the wave border, which actually is very popular in the crochet community, and it's not anything new. It's been around for quite a while, and so I'm not the inventor of the border, but the stitch is really nice too. So it's really 3D zigzag looks, so it's really, really nice. So those are all the frequently asked questions I get, and the materials you're going to need. Before we begin, I do have to mention, like I said, all the links are in the description of this video for all the materials, as well as the written pattern is on YARNutopia.com. Be sure to check out the Facebook page and the Instagram and Snapchat, all that good stuff. You can see behind the scenes clips of what we do here at YARNutopia headquarters if you join me on Snapchat, and also you can join the conversation on Facebook. Be sure to hit the subscribe button because we are hitting the 250,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so big thank you to everybody who has subscribed. You guys are so wonderful. Our community is growing so much. So anyway, I will stop babbling and we can get into making this beautiful blanket, the Wiggles and Giggles Crocheted Baby Blanket. Let's get started. Alright, to start out, we're going to use our main color, and we are going to make a slip knot. So put your short end over your long end, then fold this down, and then pull your long end through that loop there, and pull tight. There's your slip knot. Insert your hook, and we can start. So let's start out by chaining. You can chain any multiple of 3, and then add one more chain. So any multiple of 3 plus 1, I'm going to chain 133 chains. So you can chain, like a multiple of 3 would be 132, and then plus 1 would be 133 chains. So that's going to be the size of the baby blanket, but if you want to do more, just do, or if you want to make a bigger blanket, just do more chains. So yarn over and pull through, and that's 1 chain. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to make you watch me chain 133, so just chain the amount that you want. I'm going to chain 133, and once I do that, I will come back and we'll go on to row 1. Alright, once you have all your chains, that's 133 chains, or any multiple of 3 plus 1, we're going to start out by, okay, so the loop on the hook doesn't count as anything, so we're going to skip these first 3 chains. That 3 chain is going to count as a stitch. It's going to count as a double crochet. And then we're also going to skip this next chain right here because we are going to work in that, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So we're going to skip 4 chains, and we are going to double crochet into the 5th chain right here. So skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then double crochet into this next one. So I'm going to yarn over. I personally like to work in the back ridges, so I turn my chain toward me and work in these back ridge here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th one is right here. So we're going to yarn over, go into that chain. You can go in that back loop like me, that back ridge, or any one of the loops on that chain. Okay, then yarn over and pull through that chain, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops. That's a double crochet. This whole project is made with double crochets. Now we're going to double crochet into the next chain here. So yarn over, go into this next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops. Now remember I said that this chain 3 right here counts as a stitch, and then we're going to work into this other skipped chain right here. We're going to come over and work into that chain. So what we're going to do is yarn over here. I'm going to turn my work sideways, kind of like this, and I'm going to work from the back. Okay, so we're going to go into this kind of gap here, and we're going to go into this skipped chain right here. So kind of on the side of it. So turn your work this way and then go into that chain, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And that creates a slanted stitch that goes over the front of those 2 double crochets. So it's slanted. Okay? So we're going to do the series of these 3 stitches all the way across. Okay? So I'm going to show you again. So yarn over, skip the next chain right here. Okay, so you can see this double crochet is worked into here. So skip this chain and then double crochet into this next chain right here. Then double crochet into the next chain right here. And then we're going to double crochet into the skipped chain way over here. So yarn over, turn your work to the side like this, go into this gap, go into this chain right here, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through these other 2 loops. And that makes the overlapping slanted stitch. Cool. So do that all the way across. So yarn over, skip the next chain, double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. 1 and 2. And then go back to this chain that we skipped. So yarn over, go kind of, it's like working from behind the chain, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, like working behind the chain like that. Then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And there you have your slanted stitch. So all these stitches will go this way like this. Okay? So we're going to do that all the way across this chain. So skip the next, double crochet in the next, then double crochet in the next, and then double crochet in the skipped chain using that technique. So yarning over, turning the work kind of sideways and going down into the chain, working in the front of your 2 double crochets, so that way it's in the front, just like that. Alright, so if you need to rewind this to see how I did that, otherwise just continue doing that all the way across the chain, and then I can meet you up toward the end of this row, and then we can go on to row 2 together. Alright, I'm just making my last crossover stitch here, and oopsie, you should have 1 chain left here. So this is what you have. There's 1 chain left there. We're just going to put a regular double crochet into the last chain, okay? If you have more than 1 chain left, you may have skipped a stitch or a few, so make sure you go back, and you should only have 1 stitch left. We're just going to put a regular double crochet in there, okay? So that was row 1 here. So this is what it should start to look like. Okay, so going on to the next row, we are going to chain up 3. Again, that counts as our double crochet. So chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work around. Okay, and now what we're going to do, you can see here, this stitch right here is the chain up 3 stitch that's basically worked into this very first stitch here. So if you want to stretch your work out a little bit, you can see that we have this first stitch here. We're not going to work in there because this chain up 3 counts. And then we have these next 3 stitches which we're going to do our sequence in. So we're going to skip this stitch right here, which if you flip this over, you'll see that that stitch is our diagonal stitch. So we're going to skip that stitch, and we're going to put a regular double crochet in each of these regular double crochets. So yarn over, go into the double crochet stitch right there, and make a double crochet, and in the next stitch as well. Now, since this is the back of your work, like you can't see the slanted stitches, and the other side, this side, is the front of your work where you can see the slanted stitches, we are going to make a stitch that goes to the front. So we're going to kind of turn our work around here, okay, like this. We're going to yarn over, and what I like to do is turn my work sideways. We're going into this slanted stitch from the previous row. And what we're going to do, instead of going through this stitch up here like this, we are going to go into this front loop right here and this loop that's down right next to it. Okay, you can kind of see it makes a sideways V shape, or like a greater than sign, or less than sign, I guess it would be, if you could see that right here. So going in to this loop and this loop right here. Okay, those are the loops we're going to work in for the slanted stitch. And we're going to yarn over and pull through those loops right there. Then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And that way you've made a slanted stitch on this side. Okay, now turn your work back around to the back where we're working on right here. Let me grab some more yarn. And we're going to repeat that all the way across. So skip this stitch right here. This is the slanted stitch on the other side. And then these 2 stitches are your regular double crochet stitches. So double crochet in these 2. Double crochet and double crochet. Now I'm going to turn my work. You can turn your work around kind of like this. Yarn over with your yarn. Go down. So you remember I said don't go all the way to the back of the stitch and work underneath those 2 loops. Don't do that. We're going to go into this front loop here and this side loop right next to it right here. Okay, then yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and then turn your work to the back again. Then go skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then turn your work around and double crochet into the slanted stitch. This loop and this side loop, just like that. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I can turn this to the front here. You can see that it's making that shape. So very cool so far. So then turn it to the back and just continue that all the way across. So skip this stitch, double crochet in the next 2, then turn your work around and double crochet into the skipped stitch, working in this front loop and this side loop right there. Okay, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then turn to the back again and continue. So do that all the way across, and then I'll meet you up. We'll go on to row 3 next. Alright, once you make your last slant stitch right here, okay, turn to the back, and you can see there is that chain up 3 stitch right there. That counts as a stitch. You can see 1, 2, and the 3rd chain is right here. So we're going to yarn over, go into the front loop and the back loop of that next chain there. There we go. And then make a double crochet into that last stitch. Just like that. So regular double crochet into the last stitch. And that's how every row is going to start and end, with a chain up 3 or end with a double crochet. The back side actually looks pretty cool too. That looks awesome. So now we're going to flip our work around. Okay, and you can see here are the kind of, it's going to be almost like chevron, like sideways chevron style. So now we're going to go back this way, like row 1 here, okay? But row 3 is a little different because we're not working on a chain, we're working in the stitches. So I'll show you exactly what to do. We're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. And we are going to skip the slanted stitch right here. So you can see here, this first stitch right here is counted as the chain up 3 stitches worked into there. Then this next stitch is the slanted stitch we're going to skip. And these next 2 stitches right here, we're going to double crochet into each one of those. So go into this next one, double crochet, and double crochet. Now we want to work into this slanted stitch. So we're going to yarn over, come back over, okay, over here to this stitch right here, and just like the last row, we're not going to go from the back all the way through the stitch. I know you can't see that very well, but there's 2 loops, there we go, right here. So there's the back loop and the front loop. Let me see if I can, there we go. My yarn is kind of stretching. So this back loop and this front loop here, we're not going to go through the back loop. So we're just going to go through this front loop right here. And we're going through, I know it's hard to see on this one particularly, but if you can see this loop right here. Okay, so it's like the horizontal, sort of semi-horizontal loop right there. Okay, you can go through these 2 if you want, or you can go through these 2, which I'm going to go through these 2 right here. Yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that creates the slant going back that way. Awesome! So now we're just going to repeat that sequence of those 3 stitches all the way across. So skip this next stitch right here, go into this next stitch here and make a double crochet, go into the next stitch and make a double crochet, and then go back to the slanted stitch right here, yarn over first, go into the front loop of this and the loop right below it, okay, also on an angle here, yarn over and pull through that, and then make your double crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there's your zigzag. It's looking like a zigzag. Kind of cool. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way across. So skip this stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then double crochet into that skipped stitch. And I feel like working on the front of your work is much easier than working on the back of your work, because you don't have to turn your work every time you make a slanted stitch, which is nice. So now I'm working a little bit faster here. As you can see, working on the front of my work is easier to find the slanted stitch, just like that. Okay, so do that all the way across, and then I'll come back and we'll go on to row 4. Alright, when you're finishing row 3 here, you can see that the chain up 3, 1, 2, 3 right here, we have to double crochet into that chain up 3. So go into the front loop, and the back loop is always the hardest for me. There we go. Into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that was row 3. So you can start to see the zigzag. Now at this point, I need you to rewind this and repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you want your piece to be. So you can see here I just made a little swatch on camera, but it's the same exact thing for all blanket sizes. For the baby blanket size, the beginning chain was 133, so we're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 for however long you want to make this. And the measurement sizes, I will put measurement sizes for blankets sizes if you want to make this different sizes. For all blanket sizes, I'll put the measurements in the notes section of the written pattern that's linked in the description of this video if you're watching it on YouTube. So just repeat rows 2 and 3. I am going to do a total of 54 rows for this blanket. You can see the back side, so we're going to turn our work, well at this point for row 4, you chain up 3, okay, turn your work around, and actually do like the back side as well, although the back side is not where the design is intention. Its intention was to be on this side where the zigzag would show, but this side is also very nice, as you can see. So I am going to do a total of 54 rows for this baby blanket design, and you can do however many rows you need to, but just repeat rows 2 and 3. So once I finish rows 2 and 3 on my blanket part, I will come back and we'll finish up that part, and then we will start the border next. Alright, welcome back. This is what your blanket should look like an optical illusion. It looks so fabulous. I ended up doing 55 stitches. I ended on the back side of my work, but you can end on any way you want. You can end on row 54, 55, or however long you want your blanket to be. Now let me show you a couple things first. As you go, you're going to add, I added, this was about 3 balls of yarn of this With Love yarn, so I added, so it was about 3 balls, so I had to change the yarn throughout, and I sewed in my ends as I went, but I wanted to show you real quick how to quickly sew in your ends. I have this one end here that I haven't sewn in yet. I grabbed a yarn needle and I'm just sewing this in underneath these stitches here. Okay, so I'm just going underneath these stitches and then pulling, stretching, and then going back. You can go back and forth as many times as you need to, and then stretch it out, and then cut any extra that's just hanging out. Okay, and that's how you sew in an end, and it's hidden and gone. So that is that. Then I wanted to show you the measurement of my blanket that I made. So this is a baby blanket. I'm gonna make this for my own baby, and we have our measure tape here, so I'm gonna lean over so you can see the measurement across is 30 inches. It's a little over 30 inches, but we're going to make the border still, so it'll be about 33 inches across in the end. But at this point, this is how big it is. And the length for 55 rows, I ended up doing 55 rows, not 54, and that is also 30 inches. So it's like a square, pretty close to being a square blanket right now. So again, the border will add some measurement to it. So let's get on to doing that next. So at whichever point you're at, if you did an odd number of rows, you would end on the back side. If you did an even number of rows, you would end on the front side. And sorry, one of my stitches fell out here. So what we're going to do, regardless of what side you are on, we are going to chain. We're going to chain 1. And just, if you are not looking at the front of your work, look at the front of your work. If you are looking at the front of your work, don't change anything. We're going to work. Now, if you're looking at the front of your work, you would work down. You would be on this side here. Sorry. So if you ended here, you're going to turn your work and you're going to single crochet down this edge all the way around your piece. Okay? I ended over here on the back of my work, so on an odd numbered row. So I am going to single crochet across this row right here. So I'm going to single crochet. So go into the stitch right here, the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. This is a simple round of just single crochets with the same color of your main color. Okay, and we're just single crocheting into each stitch across this row and down the side, and then around the whole bottom, the foundation row, and then up the last side. And we're just going to single crochet around this whole piece. Now I do want to show you how to single crochet down the side, because sometimes that can be tricky, especially when you're working on the side of stitch. There's no stitch, so I'll single crochet across this top row here, and then once I get to the next corner of this blanket, I'll show you how to turn the corners and work down the side. Alright, so I single crocheted across this whole row, and I'm in the last stitch here. In each of the corner stitches, you want to put 3 single crochets in there. 1, here's 2, and 3. Okay, and now working down the side of this, we're going to turn this around, or turn this to the side here. Okay, basically wherever your hook fits is where you should single crochet. So along this chain here, just single crochet, this chain, single crochet, in this stitch, single crochet. Basically I'm putting 2 per row. Okay, so 2 per chain up 3 and 2 per double crochet on the side. Okay, so you can kind of eyeball it where your hook fits is where you should single crochet. Just try to not put too many single crochets on the side, or even 2 less single crochets, but even 2 less won't bunch it up and make it like ripply on the edges. So just make sure that you're not putting too many single crochets down the side. Okay, so this is what it should start to look like. Awesome. So I'm just going to single crochet all the way around, and then in each corner put 3 single crochets, and I'm going to come back when we are at the end of this round. Alright, I just single crocheted all the way around. I am going to put 2 more single crochets in this very first spot that we started because there's already a single crochet there, but we want 3 single crochets in all corners. And then I'm going to slip stitch to this first stitch right here, so go in, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. And on this color, I'm going to change color at this point, and I'm going to do 1 round of a soft gray color. If you don't want to change color, just chain 1 and go on to the next round with me. But I'm going to chain 1 here and cut this yarn and pull it through that chain 1 and then pull that tight. Okay? And then what we're going to do, so this is what your border should look like, just a plain single crochet border right now. So what we're going to do is I have this Red Heart Super Saver in Dusty Gray, and I like the soft gray tone of this yarn, so I'm going to use this. And you can start in any stitch around. What we're going to do, you can start in a middle single crochet of a corner, which is where I am going to start here in this tutorial. So I'm going to go into the middle single crochet of a corner. So 1, 2, 3, this one right here. And I'm going to hook this color in and pull it through. Okay. And then I'm going to chain 1. We're just going to single crochet around. So chain 1 in the corner, in the middle single crochets of the corners, we are going to put 3 single crochets. Okay, always remember that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we are going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch until the next corner and until the next middle single crochet of the next corner, and we are going to put 3 single crochets in the corners. So that is this round all the way around, just a simple single crochet round for this. Then the next rounds we are going to do is the wave stitch. It's pretty common in crochet. It's kind of like a shell but kind of like a wave, and I'll explain that in the next clip. Once I come back around, we'll fasten this color off, and I want to do my wavy border in this mint green main color. Alright, I just single crocheted all the way around this piece, so now I'm going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet stitch right here. So just go in, then yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then we're going to fasten this color off, so I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. And now we're going to get back to the main color and make our wavy border. Now this wavy border is very common in crochet. I've seen a lot of crochet projects with it, but I've never taught it before. So I can't take credit for the design. It's out there in the crochet community, and the community is so talented, and somebody made this design before. So we're going to start in a corner single crochet in the middle single crochet of a corner. So right here, okay, this is where I'm going to attach my color. And we're going to chain up 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And in the same stitch, we are going to double crochet. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to put 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. Kind of like a granny square design here, granny's corner, just like that. Okay, so it looks like there's 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. Now what we're going to do is chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to turn the work around to the back, kind of just flip it to the back here, and we're going to slip stitch into this chain up 3 stitch here. So go into the chain up 3 stitch right here, yarn over, pull through, and through, and then we're going to chain 1. Okay, flip the work back to the front here, like this. And in this chain 4 space right here, we are going to put 7 double crochets. So yarn over, go into this chain 4 space right here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, now what we're going to do is come back down to this gray line here. In these next 4 stitches, we are going to double crochet. So yarn over, go all the way down to this next stitch right here, and double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So here's 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, and the next stitch is 4. Okay, this kind of comes down like this, just like that. Okay, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, flip this around to the back, and instead of slip stitching to this first double crochet stitch right here, we're actually going to go right into this chain 4 space from the side here. So you can see on this side, this kind of big gap right here, we're going to go in to the back, just like that, and then we're going to grab onto our yarn and pull it through, and pull it through the loop on your hook. That's a slip stitch in that chain 4 space. Then we're going to chain 1, flip this back around to the front here, and now in this chain 4 space here, we are going to put our 7 double crochets. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then when I pick this one back up, it's overlapping. Oopsie, let me grab my hook here. It's overlapping this next wave here. So it's kind of like a shell, and this one's kind of like a shell, but this one overlaps this one. So each one is going to overlap the next one, okay? And we're just going to repeat that all the way till the next corner. So I'm going to turn this down here, so we're going to look at it, there we go, like this. So we're working along this edge now. So double crochet into the next 4 stitches down here on the gray stitches here. So here's 1, next stitch is 2, here's 3, and 4. Then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, turn the work and slip stitch, go into this gap here, around into this chain 4 space, yarn over, pull through and through, chain 1, flip the work back to the front, and put 7 double crochets into this chain 4 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then you just flip these up, and that's what it should start to look like. Okay, and stretch it out a little bit. Awesome, I love it. It like overlaps. Super lovely. Okay, so just continue that all the way around. Now I will show you once I get to my next corner if you have more or less stitches instead of the 4 stitches here, like to turn the corner. I will meet you back up and show you how to turn the corner. So I'm going to do this side exactly how I'm doing, how I showed you. Just repeat this sequence until the next corner, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to turn the corner, and then we'll be good to go for the rest of this round. Alright, I'm just coming up to the corner, and I thought maybe if I had extra stitches, or I would show you how to get to the corner, but I have perfect 4 stitches here, so I can make my last kind of wave before the corner. However, if you have 1 extra stitch before the corner stitch, just skip that stitch and go into the corner and do the corner, which I'm going to show you. Otherwise, if you have 2 stitches left before the corner, you can put 2 double crochets in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in the next stitch and make your last wave before the corner. Or if you have 3 stitches, you can put 2 in one and then 1 in the next 2. And obviously if you have 4 stitches, that's perfect. So we need the 4 stitches. But if you just have 1 stitch left, you can skip that and go into doing your corner. But I'll show you how to do the corner. I'm just finishing my last wave on the side, okay? So for the corner stitch, we are going to go into this next stitch right here. This is the middle single crochet of the 3 single crochet grouping in the corner. And we are going to put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, then chain 2, 1, 2, and then put 2 more double crochets into that corner. Okay, and then we're going to make our wave, so chain 4, okay, turn your work to the back, slip stitch around this chain 4 here, okay, chain 1, turn your work back around, and make your 7 double crochets into that chain 4 space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we've turned the corner. Okay, so now we can turn our work here. Okay, and then just go into the very next stitch right here, make your next 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn your work around, slip stitch into this previous one, this previous chain 4 space here, chain 1, turn your work back around, and make your 7 double crochets. Okay, and that is how you turn the corner. So do the rest of this round, or the rest of this here, and when you lay this flat out, you can see on the corner that there is a wave on the corner, and then all these look really cute. Okay, so I'm just going to finish all the way around this piece, and then once I'm done, I'll meet you back up. I'll show you how to attach to the beginning and fasten off. Alright, when you make your last wave and you come back to the beginning here, as you can see, I don't know if you can see here, I only had 3 stitches left. So like I said, put 2 stitches in one stitch and then 1 in the next 2 when you're coming up onto a corner, and that should be okay. So that did happen to me. But once you're finished with this round, what we're going to do is actually go into the chain 2 corner down here. Okay, and we're going to, you can kind of bend your wave back here. We're going to yarn over, pull through and through to slip stitch, and then chain 1. Okay, I'm going to cut my yarn here. We're going to fasten this off. So pull it through that chain 1 and pull tight, and we need to sew in that end. But that's it. The Wiggles and Giggles Crocheted Baby Blanket is complete. I'm just gonna sew in this end and then we're done. So thank you so very much for watching and learning how to make this baby blanket. I cannot wait until June this year, 2018, to give this to my very own baby. I'm so excited. So this is my baby's first blanket. This is the first project I made for my baby, so I'm really excited about that. And this is the border, how that looks. It looks so lovely. I just love the wave look of that and the zigzags. That's so beautiful. Awesome. Well, if you make this blanket, tell me who you're making it for, and also share photos on the Facebook page for YARNutopia. The link is in the description of this video. I would love to see what colors you choose. I chose this mint green color because we're not sure what the gender is yet, but it's a neutral color. So thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this blanket. Until next time, everybody, happy hooking!